Alrighty everybody, welcome into today's video. Today I'm going to be going over my complete strategy that made me $21,000 last month. Just a quick announcement before we do get into today's video. The Capital Academy has launched, which was previously called the Inner Circle, but this is more based on education. So this is a proven way to become profitable. There's already 35 classes already recorded and put in the Capital Academy, so you can go and watch at your own pace and whichever ones you want to watch. Another thing is that we have nightly calls, meaning every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we all get on call and I invite you onto the stage so you can review your trade and we will go over it together and I can hold you accountable and make sure you're following your rules and doing everything right and just teaching. So yeah, it's extremely educational based. There's not a bunch of live trading or signals. There's definitely no signals whatsoever, but I do some my analysis throughout the day, but it's strictly focused on discipline, accountability, and you becoming profitable. Live trading and signals is not what's going to make you profitable. It's going to be discipline and independence. But it's time to go ahead and get into today's video. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So this is my AEM model. Okay, most of you guys get AEM and PRR mixed up. All right, so I will allow you to interchange these as fairly the same. Okay, but I'll be teaching basically a mix between these two. I will show the PRR model specifically, but how it could be implemented using the AEM, because there's only one difference between the two. They're basically the same. So for this model, you need sweep of liquidity or tap into a high time frame fair value gap or SMT. These are your conditions. You need at least one of these. You don't have to have all, just at least one. Okay? So what you're going to be doing is you're going to look for one of these every single day going into the market before market open. Okay, so let's look for one of these. First of all, we are on today's chart, which today is July the 9th. I know this is the 8th right here, but we're basically going in replay so I can show you this trade. All right, so first of all, we have all-time highs right up here. All right, now, I know I said do not fade all-time highs, but there are instances where this is okay. All right, and I will show you because today is an example of one. All right, I know quite a few people in the Capital Academy who took this trade. So first of all, let's speed it up until we get a liquidity sweep, because remember, for first step, we need either a liquidity sweep, a tap into a high time frame fair value gap, or an SMT. So we're going to look for this pool of liquidity to get swept. So let's just mark it out, all-time highs. That's our draw on liquidity. All right, so all-time highs are draw on liquidity. Now, you guys can see where that is our draw, and we're about to hit it. So let's go down the time frame so we can see when we actually hit it. First of all, this is very common. All right, when we have this massive uptrend move, okay, usually I try to do a continuation trade. Okay, these work. But if we see here, we are manipulating before we actually sweep the liquidity. So there's people that are entering long like right here and they are getting stopped out. Okay, they have tight stops just aiming to take a little scalp. They are getting stopped. So you have to wait for the liquidity sweep because you do not want to become the liquidity. All right, there's our sweep. Now, we see that there's two stacked fair value gaps. 1 and 2. This is one of the most important steps. Up your time frame in the top left until this becomes a 1 gap. Like that. Okay? Do not do this above 5-minute time frame. Now we just want to see a candle close below this fair value gap. Cool, that's our entry. We will be entering a short position off the close of the gap. So, like I said, going back up here, actually it's going to be all wonky because of the time frame, but we had our liquidity sweep, which was step 1. We needed one of the 3. Then we have our fair value gap, which was step 2, and we need to see it get inversed, meaning get a close below it. So a bullish gap, if it wants to become inversed, a bullish gap has to get a bearish close, which is this, a close below it. And if we want a bullish IFVG, an inverse fair value gap, you need a bullish close over a bearish fair value gap. I hope that makes sense. So green candle, we need close below, and then red candle, you need close above. So here's the safest way you can do this, especially whenever you're trying to fade a trend, especially fading all-time highs can be a little scary, but it is able to be done, all right? We have this massive uptrend, and in fact, I would look for continuation longs, which is what I was looking for today. So this is very important, all right? We want to up our time frame to around the 15-minute, and we're going to look for a fair value gap. Well, we see there's one right here, and we're going to be marking out the highs of these bullish gaps. Because what is price likely to do? Do that, okay? So we're going to be putting our take profit at this level while having a break even at this gap. And keep in mind, these gaps are unmitigated, meaning they have not been traded into. That's what we want to be looking for take profits, okay? So we're going to be targeting unfilled gaps here. So, all right, break even here / TP1. When I say break even, that's usually my first take profit when I take partials. Okay, so as you can see, we got the inverse. We have our stop loss at the high. Okay, stop loss will never be just above this inverse gap. Too many people do that. I would rather risk a little bit more money to make more money. Okay, don't be scared. All right, put your stop loss at the top of the reversal. Okay, so like right here. Now, we can see back on the 15-minute, our break even is sitting at this gap, and it kind of spoils it, but you can see it hits the take profit. Okay, so just an instant dump to our level. Okay, now why did we target these gaps instead of targeting all the way down here? The reason we did this is because you're not always trying to fade an uptrend, especially around all-time highs. Okay, but when you do it, you don't want to go for a home run, and I always preach this, all right? Do not go for some home run trade when you're fading a strong trend. Just go for a retracement into a fair value gap, okay? So even if you took this right here, say, let's just go back on our normal time frame, we took the 2-minute inversion up here, okay? We took profit here, we took some profit, and say it break even us, well, we made a little bit of money and we stayed safe and managed risk perfectly. That's exactly what you need, okay? This is the exact strategy here. We are just looking for a sweep of liquidity and then an inverse fair value gap targeting an unmitigated gap. That's all. Or external range liquidity. But you only want to target external range liquidity whenever you're not fading a massive trend. So let's find an example using external range liquidity. Alright, so I'm here with another example. Right here, we are looking for our external range liquidity. So we see there's a very prominent swing low right here and relative equal lows in the market. We are going to wait for price to sweep out this level. So let's fast forward. Okay. So you can see price swept out liquidity right here. Okay, we got a sweep of liquidity. Notice we have these stacked fair value gaps. Now remember, we cannot trade stacked fair value gaps. We have to up the time frame until it is just one gap. Okay, that's still two gaps. We're going to do a 3-minute, bang. Now it's one gap. Okay, so we're going to wait for the price to close above this gap. Okay, we got our close here. That's our entry. So, accidentally fast forwarded too far, but that is our entry on the close above this bearish fair value gap with a stop loss at this swing low. Now for this, we're going to first have our first take profit / break even at this high right here. It's a swing high. Bang. Alright. Now we're going to be setting full take profit all the way at this external range liquidity up here. So like 150 points. Okay, now by putting our break even here, this will allow us more safety. So we're going to drag out our inverse fair value gap to the right. This is very important. Always drag your inversion gaps all the way to the right so you can use them as support zones in the future. So let's see what the market does. Okay, break even and take profit one hit. And as you can see, the market is just climbing for that external range liquidity and bang. So yeah, that's literally it. You're just looking for sweep of liquidity or an SMT or a tap into a high time frame fair value gap and then the highest time frame inverse fair value gap between the 1 minute to 5 minute. This is another thing though that's really important. Your stop loss is always going to be at the low that starts the reversal, okay? If you put your stop loss like right under the gap, you may end up getting stopped out, and you'll see that happen where price will do this and then go higher. Okay, so you want to make sure your stop loss is always at the lowest low that starts that reversal. So there you guys have it. That is my complete strategy that made me $21,000 from trading last month. So yeah, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, just hit me up in the Discord or hit me up on Instagram at GS Trades. So yeah, and if you'd like to learn more in depth, join the Capital Academy. The link for that is in the bio. Like I said in the beginning of this video, it is extremely accountability and discipline focused, with a full focus really in education. It's not going to be like some Signal thing where you can just join and steal my trades. No, it's about you actually learning, and every single night you will be showing up to the accountability sessions and checking in and learning every single night. It's an extremely awesome community, and everybody there is dedicated all for the same purpose: to become a successful trader and a successful person. Okay, it goes more than just trading, but it's really a family inside the Capital Academy. So there you guys have it. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video.